Hello everybody, Theorycrafter here, and today we are gonna talk about the huge, they are actually huge jungle changes that are coming through probably on the next patch. We're not sure, they are testing them right now on PBE. And what role did Riot decide to change once again? Obviously, jungle. So many people have talked about it. I have done some maths to give you a more detailed breakdown of what that means. We can't have a full view right now of what will actually happen because we don't know the exact numbers. So I will not go through all of this. I have make some notes to make it easier for you to understand what does this mean, and I'm focusing more on the meta changes. So what are they planning to do? So first of all, they want to make the first clears and general clearing more easy and more healthy. So first change is they reduce the damage of the camps. We both, the first spawn, the level 1 spawn of camps, and the spawn of, the scaling damage of camps, as the levels go on. They also uh, increase. Let's say, what does this mean? So I've done some maths, and first of all, this is really important. It's probably the most important of all of these. So right now, when you take a camp, apart from buffs like red and blue, so every other camp like Krags, Raptors, Wolves, all of these, they respawn every 2 minutes after you kill. So if you have finished a camp at 2 minutes, it will respawn at 4. If it's at 5 minutes, it will respawn at 7 minutes. So what this change means is that instead of respawning every 2 minutes, they are going to respawn every 135 seconds. So this is 135 seconds, this is 120. So that's 15 seconds extra. Who does that benefit? Well, it's pretty obvious. It benefits people and champions that do not like full clearing, sequencing their camps. Like I could think of Alice, Lee Sin, Rek'Sai, um, perhaps even some off-meta junglers like Pantheon, Sylas, Twitch. I actually think this changes help Twitch a lot, but we will see how that goes. Anyway, um, so that's 15 extra seconds that you can use to gank. In the mid game, if your clear is not that fast, because, okay, first clear, you don't really care. Like, that does not affect your first clear, right? Sorry. This does not affect your first clear. But it can affect your other clears. For example, a lot of tanks like Amumu, Zac, Sejuani, the first clears up until they take some items, they have their bummies in there. So usually their second clear is kind of slow compared to other junglers. So with this clear, with this change, you won't really care about that. Like, it helps slower junglers. Let's make an example. So let's say that you take a camp at 2 minutes. All right. So you have taken camp at 2:00. And that's usually your second camp. So you take your buff. Usually your buff is, it's at around 140, 150 range. And by 2 minutes, you probably, two plus something, you have take your second camp. So that may be Grom, that may be Krags. So this camp will respawn again at it will respawn at 4 minutes. Okay, so let's say you're this jungler over here. So you take your red, right? You take your Krags, and then you clear top side. Maybe you take your scuttle at the when it spawns, you go for a gank. uh, you go for a gank on top side, assuming you have start both side. And it's obviously the same. If you have start top side, you go for a gank in both side, and vice versa. So what actually happens is a lot of times junglers that start on mirror sides, so when they start on the same buff, so this jungler will go downwards, this jungler will go upwards. And if this is a good farming jungler, what a lot of times will happen is you will gank, they will see your top side, right? Maybe they will look for a gank in bot lane and then invade your Krags. But Krags right now are spawning at 4 minutes. So just after they gank, probably the camp is gonna be up, right? But now it's not gonna be up. Who does this benefit from? Heavy ganking junglers. So the Elise is gonna gank both side, right? There's nothing she can take, right? And she will just go mid lane and gank mid lane. On the other side, if you're, let's say, a farming jungler, right? You can't do the same, right? Because before you would just start taking his camps. Now you can't do that. You have, maybe recall and go back to start your clear all over again, or you have to gank and match his gank, which you are not gonna be able to do because you are farming jungler with no CC. So strong level 3 gankers like, as I said before, Rek'Sai, Lee Sin, Jarvan, Xin Zhao, Volibear, any jungler that can have decent early game ganks is gonna be super benefit from that. So this is a push towards a more early game ganking focused meta. Alright? If camps are not gonna be up that often, that probably translates to lower gold income and lower accessibility to experience. Gold wise, in order for Riot to, like what Riot did to fight that, is they increase gold from non buff camps. It's about 5% increase in gold. Now, I did the maths, and if you're a jungler that can take camps on spawn, right? So every time a camp is spawning, you take it. That's gonna be a 10% decrease in experience and about 6% decrease in gold. Now, the reason it's 6% decrease in gold and not 10% is because of this 5% increase in gold. So if you do the maths, it's actually 6% overall decrease. But that's for full sequencing junglers. So junglers that will take the camp at spawn. So the more camps that you do not take on spawn, the less this is going to be. Xin Zhao, for example, right? Yes, Xin Zhao is going to do some nice clears, but he's not gonna take camps on spawn, especially since his second clear is not going to get them at spawn. So it's not that much of a decrease for him. On the other side, if you're a Karthus, that's a really bad change for you. If you're an Evelyn that wants to rush level 6, that's a really bad change for you. If you're a Nocturne that wants to rush level 6, that's a really bad for you. So all these level 6 junglers or junglers that wants to scale like Karthus, Master Yi, Evelyn, Rengar, Kha'Zix, all these junglers that, okay, I'm gonna do some ganks, I'm gonna try to impact the mob, but I wanna scale at the end of the day. That's going to be harder for you. You can invade less, you can farm less, and I can see some off-meta junglers getting helped by that. And I could see Pantheon, I could see Sylas, and I could see even Tweets, which right now Tweets is really bad. Now, that by itself cannot make Sylas viable, cannot make Tweets viable, cannot make all this not so strong like, I don't know, Zyra or whatever viable. Okay, so what can it make viable then? So why do you write this, Mr. Theorycrafter? Well, there's a very specific reason. This one, reduced damage for comes, and this one, Smite, increased healing. Plus, Smite does more damage. So, let me elaborate on that. First of all, they decrease the damage that comes to, okay? They decrease the Omnivamp, but that does not matter at all at early game. Why? Because reduced AD of camps overshadows reduced Omnivamp up to mid to late game. So yeah, not late game, like let's write mid game. So at around 20-25 minutes. But at that point, you don't really care. Your clears are already very healthy. This is going to be probably nerfed towards AoE junglers that can fully heal. I write late game here. Game. I mean, not early game because the reduce of damage is high, but and all this depends, of course, on the life numbers. But overall, we will have at least 70%. At least 70 flat health more at minimum at our first clear. So why do I say that? Because Smite used to heal you for 90 health plus 10% of your max health. But now it's 15%. So it's, these 5 percentage points are translating to at least, assuming you double Smite on your first clear, depending on any changes, can be 100 and probably more, like 150 more. Maybe on some junglers it could be as high as 200 health, depending on the numbers again. So 150 health is actually quite good. And if you're Hecarim, you don't really care, right? Because you're gonna be full health. If you're an Amumu that gets so low, you care. If you're a Mudo, you care. If you are a Sylas, one of the main problems of Sylas is how weak his early clear is. And it's not just about speed, right? Because these changes do not affect speed. Stuff like Sylas, stuff like Tweets, they have very unhealthy clears. So if you can get 150 health more, man, that's great. Like that can actually make you on a pretty safe state. That means that Tweets can actually farm more than 3 camps and not get it executed. Same with Sylas. And why do I say clears are going to be faster? That's because of the Smite damage to monsters is changing. So it used to be 390 to 1k based on levels, right? So right now, it's 500 flat and 1000 after you complete your Smite quest. So what does this mean? A stronger Smite pre-level 6. So at level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, your Smite is going to be stronger. It's going to be weaker from level 6 to 8, 7, something around this area, depending on how fast you complete your Smite quest, and then it's going to be stronger again. So that's a buff. That's a flat out buff. Because, 390 and you have 500, that's 110 extra damage, which can be translated on at least 2 autos, right? So 2 autos, maybe 3. And if we say that that's, 1 second per auto, and you use both smites on your first clear, that's at least 4 seconds. That can mean that, like, Sylas, he can look, or Tweets, they can look for, instead of going for 3 camps, they can look for 4 camps. And what does this mean? This means that they are not having to force ganks, which, by the way, they're going to have more time to force them because of these 15 seconds. So yeah. And the last change is reduced snowball. So right now, if you're higher level, you have more powerful smite, so it's easier for you to contest objectives or camps. It's fine. Like, it's not like you shared like good players, right? Because good players, okay, I can't use my smite better than the other jungler because we have the same damage, right? But I can use it overall uh, to do more stuff, to have faster clears, to impact the map faster. So yes, it's a nerf towards Snowball in a jungler versus jungler scenario, but it's a buff when it has to do with how much can a jungler impact the map. And the last change, maybe the more controversial one, is that reintroduce monsters grant 50 XP per level. You are below the average level of the game, -1. So, what does this mean? First of all, in order to get comeback XP, you need to be 2 levels behind the average. Now, what they say and what I understand from that is you get 50 XP per level, you are below the average level of the game. So if you're level 4, right, you get 100. If you're level 3, you get 150. Now, that's again, I mean, first of all, if you're that far behind, probably you're not that powerful, so it's not that broken as it seems. But what this could potentially lead to is junglers that just camp lanes. And I think I have noted that, yeah. Snowball nerf may indirect buff camping junglers with huge early power. So what that means is, okay, my camps are not gonna be up that soon, so I'm not getting that far behind compared um, to before. So before every time I ganked, the farming jungler would take some camps, and I would be more behind and more behind and more behind. That means you can camp lanes more. Because basically, let's say you're, I don't know, I mean, not necessarily, and this, I don't think that's a buff towards Lee or Elise, right? Because typically you don't want to get behind on these junglers. You don't want to, like, you love spam ganking, but you don't love camping. So maybe that's a buff towards utility junglers, like tank junglers, like Nunu. Tweets, for example, that usually gets really behind in experience. Silas gets behind in experience. Um, Stuff like the Zac, stuff like the Sejuani, stuff that you can actually spam gank. And because you're a tank, you don't actually hurt yourself that much being behind in levels. And now you will hurt yourself even less. So, yeah, I don't know about the changes and what effect they will have on the game. Honestly, I like whatever has to do with making jungler easier, especially this one. I mean, this one does not change the meta, but really good. So basically, you will have an indicator when you're close to the max range, to range of the monster to leash, basically, for it to go back and restore health. You will have an indicator showing leash range. So that's good, making first clears that easier. That's good, because I actually want more people to start jungle, because it will actually make the games have a higher quality, because jungle diff is not gonna be that huge, right? Still, jungle will have huge skill expression, but at least on lower MMR, and I'm not even talking about gold, I'm talking about stuff like bronze and silver. I've got friends playing these elos, and it's dead awful. Like, junglers are so bad. Junglers are getting executed by buffs, and basically the game is 4v4. Like, perhaps every once in a while you have someone that kind of knows what he's doing, but basically the game does not have junglers. Like, both stranglers try to survive in their jungle. It's that bad. And yeah, that's for sure a change more towards low MMR players, but Like it or not, it will change the meta, even in Hilo. You know, healthier clears, uh, respawns are gonna be a little longer, reduced gold, more camps, more camping on lanes, more ganks. You you can have huge jungle differences because of comeback XP. Yes, you can have jungle difference, but jungle difference is gonna be more of, hey, I'm gonna take objectives more. I'm gonna put my laner so far ahead. It's not going to be, hey, I'm gonna AFK farm while you try to gank your laners and you fail. And just because I take no risks and I perma farm, I get ahead and then I say jungle div. That like that's there's no skill expression in that, honestly. Like I think that kind of I have a good feeling for these changes. We will see how it goes. We need to see specific numbers because up until then we don't know how this will affect the game. But yeah, I hope you like this video, that I tried to do some more specific stuff like how much decrease on experience, how much decrease in gold, how much health you're gonna be higher. You know, I try to be a little more specific than these like generalized pro guides videos that basically just read you through that and say nothing really, and they just say what Riot says. But yeah, I mean everything is useful, like, right? Maybe some people are not interested in detailed videos, but this is what we are trying to do in this channel. And if you like that and you want to support that, you just need to leave a like, write a comment, you know, perhaps you want to hear my opinion about more things for the game. And if you actually just want to support the game, right, I don't ask you for merch, I don't ask you for money. You can just leave a subscribe and it's really helpful. And if you don't like it, you can always take it back. So yeah, like, subscribe. My name is Theorycrafter and I'll see you on the next video.